Ana to get the Ana boost.
I think the biggest change in the battery part of things is that there's a point when you weren't seeing as much in the way of supports going out of the way to directly heal Roadhog. He was more self-sufficient, so he wasn't feeding as much ult to his actual supports. Whereas now the tables have turned where instead of the Roadhog feeding the enemy DPS, which he still does to an extent, he's feeding his own supports in the way of Ana and Zen even more so, when it just sort of, So the battery mechanic on Roadhog kind of get flipped on its head, and I think it's part of the reason why you do see him more often nowadays than you did back in the day.
Really, I was looking to see what Shadowburn was going to pick. My gut told me it was going to be Reaper over Genji, but maybe we really will see Hanzo. I mean, Hanzo instead of Widow is a great pick to have. You can get picks. It's really good in combo with Zarya. But he's going to have to get something done, otherwise it's not going to be good for them.
And Shadowburn, he's been reasonably consistent as Hanzo. I wouldn't necessarily say it's one of the most crazy Hanzos in the game or anything that we've seen, but in general, I think it works out more often than not. So it's not the worst opening here, where they do have the double pick threat. They can either get a pick via the Roadhog, or they can get a pick via the Hanzo, and either way could spell an unstoppable snowball here for FaZe, as Immortals looks to go for their third map that we've seen here tonight. Will they get the third full hold? We'll have to see.
Well, one of the problems is they don't really have anyone to contest him. As long as he stays away from this Roadhog, he just dodges one there. They don't really have a high ground here to go deal with him. Shadowburn's going to rotate all the way around. Look at this positioning he's got now. You don't want to let a sniper up here.
What? I mean, no, I guess I'm kind of happy with that. Usually I'd be mortified by a Roadhog hook, but that hook not bringing Shadowburn down. And as a result, he's able to stay up here for longer. Jolizo does recover, does land the right click on the 2 easy. It's still 2 kills here for the defense of Immortals, so FaZe thus far running into some of the same troubles that Method did just a game ago.
Shadowburn does finally get a kill, compliments of Scatter Arrow. I'm sure that Ethan is thrilled about the geometry that took place there, but Shadowburn's still being really annoying in the back lines. Not necessarily the value, but he is pulling them all out of position as they play this game of cat and mouse. Will Agilities finally get him hooked and eliminated?
Agility's had to go up a flight of stairs for that, man. Like, that was a long way to go. He just is like, I'm not going to play the game where I keep trying to hook you from low ground. I'm just going to walk all the way around and finally take you out. So, Agilities, there was commitment there.
Roadhog doesn't seem like the type who would love to go up a flight of stairs either. He's always the first one on the escalator.
Alright, so right now Agility's hanging back here, looking for pickoffs as they come, and does find 2 easy once more, a maximum range hook, putting 2 easy in a whole world of hurt, but 2 easy is able to get out. He's going to feed his support ult now, but in comes Grim Reality, moves that back like Death Blossom, takes down 2. Shadowburn gets 2 at the Dragon, but Grim Reality striking just a bit deeper.
There's always kind of the prevalent thought on snipers. It comes up with Widow a little more than Hanzo, but a lot of it is, can you really time your kills well? Because you're not necessarily fighting with your team, you are kind of solo, and it's like, you got 2 kills, but so what? We need more people on the ground, we need you with us, we need you, you know, kind of distracting the other team as well. So Shadowburn has got kills. That's a nice one, though. That's perfectly timed. An entry kill onto Agilities is great for him. Now he's in great position.
Samir comes out here from the defense. Defense going to be pushing in even harder. And by the way, there's only a minute 30 left here. If Immortals is able to win this push, they're going to be in a great position to win this map. However, Shadowburn takes down Hyped right away. But in comes Nomi, gets a double kill, swing the hammer. It's very close, but Shadowburn might be the difference maker here. Ends up with a triple, takes down Agilities, and is looking for more as the first point hold dream might be ending here for Immortals. Shadowburn in hot pursuit to take out this final piece. Will do so as FaZe keeps the cart moving. But I gotta say, Immortals, even though they didn't complete the full hold there, that was still a lot of time to be bought on that first point here in Gibraltar.
It's a decent first hold. Agility switched off to Roadhog onto Tracer to try to deal with Shadowburn, but he ended up eating an arrow to the dome. Agilities might be on tilt now. I know I would be after those last couple Hanzo kills onto me. Too Easy takes down Chance as they continue to roll through. They're going to be without the Lucio. Throwing a Graviton on it as well. There goes the Dragon Strike. Only gets the Ana, but that's both supports down.
And this is where FaZe is now starting to open up a bit of momentum here. Shadowburn is yet to be stopped, moving in, throwing down the Sonic Arrow, keeping good pressure on. And this is where Hanzo can be scary in a snowball like this. The hook comes out, Factor Fiction gets the finish. And again, this is relentless momentum coming out here from the side of FaZe, and as much trouble as they had with first, they have no trouble at all getting through Hangar.
Yeah, Ethan's gonna have to reset as he got a poor spawn position there. I just feel really bad for charging Reinhardt. Nomi was trying to charge away. He was leaving. And Too Easy says, get back here or get over here. Nails him with the hook. Brutal end. That is one of the fastest shuttle phases you can possibly have, and that's usually where teams get held up there, but they just rolled through. Hooks and picks coming galore as Nomi goes down. Here comes an on-him-boosted Reinhardt. Gets slept, though. Beautiful dart from Ethan.
Does come in, and you see Grim Reality right now holding on to Death Blossom. Blizzard gonna set him up, not using his ult just yet, and might regret it as Lucio will live to fight another day. Gets healed up by the Ana, despite the shotgun blast going into his back. And Grim right now going to opt for the high ground. This is, of course, a standard Reaper move. You go in over the top, you drop in from the bottom, throws in the nano boost for good measure. Here comes Grim Reality spinning right in, but the whole hog gonna keep him off the team, will save at least a few people, but the problem is it's such a big distraction that it still sets up Immortals to get 5 kills off of that, even if it's not Grim Reality getting all the killing blows.
Yeah, so they're going to have to pull back here. It's going to be interesting to see where they hold. I've always thought that this is one of the better choke points in the game. It does not look like it, but it's an artificial choke because there's not a whole lot of flanks you can really utilize here. So trying to come through this door and break through this on the offense can be a little bit difficult, but they give up a lot of ground. Let them come up almost near the bend already for the defense.
All right, Height comes in, throws down the wall, throws down the Blizzard. Might be freezing 3 people here. That is a well-placed weather report. Chance takes down Shadowburn, and surprisingly, it's still FaZe able to turn some of this back in their favor. They end up getting the kill advantage here. They're going to push back Agilities, who right now is just desperately holding on for a Dragon Blade. Grim Reality falls, though, and now was looking like a good Blizzard to set things up. Doesn't quite do the job, and it's Immortals on their last foot here. Agilities, Dragon Blade about to be on the ready. We'll see if it's enough.
Well, they needed that Dragon Blade to do a lot. They comboed it with the Earthshatter, which was really nice. Knocked down a couple, trading back and forth now, but 4v4 here as the fight continues onward. Graviton does come out. Here comes the Dragon, but able to escape that Graviton is Nomi, who gets back and healed up. So extremely back and forth. This sound barrier is about to fade, so the next couple kills are going to determine it. Shadowburn continues to get work done on his Hanzo. He hasn't switched off it yet all game.
And why would he switch off? I mean, there's a point where maybe it wasn't working out, but ever since they got through first, he has been having pretty relentless momentum. Now, he has been having a little bit of trouble here on last, and maybe now they're starting to run out of time, but up until the last push or so, it's been working out. Still, Jildy's in the backline, aided by the sound barrier, getting right in. No real fear here, looking for the Ana. Ana, of course, pretty darn durable, grenades herself, has the healing aura from Lucio, and Jildy's now suddenly find himself in a rough way. Grego looking for the kill and will just punch him right out as FaZe looking to reset. And Hex, they only have about 1 to maybe 2 good pushes left here with about 1:20 remaining. Yeah, not a whole lot of ultimates either, but they do have Shadowburn now on the Genji. He got killed by Genji last time. Remember that he can play that Shimada as well, so he's going to be... if he ends up getting a lot of damage done, I think they're going to regret actually killing him on Hanzo and awaking the dragon of his Genji, as it were. They're going to be able to push forward here. Here comes the Ana boost onto the Reinhardt. Anubis is coming in, a counter. Anubis coming out for Grim Reality, goes for the Death Blossom, is immediately stunned out of it, not able to get what he's looking for in the least. Agility's out, Dragon Blade takes them too easy. It's 5 versus 5 right now, both teams throwing their best shots, both teams drain on ults, and it's Shadowburn right now doing the work in the backline. Dragon Blade out, looking for the finish, has 3 kills right now and looking for more. Gonna pick up 4, will it be 5? Reaper getting taken out, and it's Shadowburn in the end, clutching it out here for FaZe, and FaZe now on the verge of capping out Gibraltar. You almost want to give Shadowburn enough kills on Hanzo so he stays on it so you don't have to deal with this Genji. They continue to kill up here. There's 3 more kills. A Desperation Blizzard comes out, is going to grab a couple as Forsaken gets caught up in the Thursday night forecast. And that's going to be it, though. It's Too Easy with the mop-up duty. They do finally complete it. 8.8 left. So what you're saying there is you want to keep... Yes. You want to keep Shadowburn reasonably entertained, so he doesn't feel like, okay, I need to get just like, no, your Hanzo's working. See, you're getting a kill here and there, it's no problem. And then... The moment I saw him get killed on the Hanzo and switch to Genji, I was like, they might regret that. Because his Genji is just that good. It is top tier. It's almost inarguable that he's probably the best Genji in the world in the competitive level. And you saw it there. He was getting more kills done without Dragon Blade than Agilities was with Dragon Blade. And then he got it to the end to close it out, able to get 2 more kills. His Genji is that dangerous that if he's not on it, you do what you can to keep him not on it, I guess. I mean, I don't actually believe that, but...
I mean, like, the Hanzo pick was the right pick for the map. He did a ton of work for the first and second phase. It was what allowed them to get the momentum to go through the hangar. without even being contested one time. But there's certain players on certain heroes, much like Surefour on McCree, where it's like, you know, whatever the meta is, it doesn't really matter. Just let them play it, even if they're countered super hard.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be plays. People are going to die anyway, no matter what happens. Why not just let it happen?
Tend to agree. Offensively here, for the moment, Grim is on a Widow. Now, they're not running anything else kind of odd, so maybe he sticks to that. Maybe they saw how good the Hanzo pick worked out, knowing that the sight lines and everything is pretty huge on this map. Maybe they'll stick with it. Shadowburn is, for the moment, remaining on his Genji, too, so that, I believe, would be his best option here. Nomi on the D.Va is a little bit interesting. D.Va is kind of all over the place, and she was very popular. Then I think she's still very good on this map, especially you want to take high ground, but Nomi thinks about it twice, goes to Reinhardt, and we have another Hanzo sighting. Grim is going to take up Hanzo.
This is interesting, and I have no idea what to expect here, because this is not usually Grim Reality's forte going in here on a Hanzo. He's more of a hit scan hero historically. Now, it's not to say they can't broaden his horizons and go full Surefour and being a little bit something of everything, but I don't know about this. This might not work out as well as expected, because Grim Reality, as great of a player as he is, isn't necessarily known for having a world-beating Hanzo.
Well, they're also kind of denying the Hanzo where he wants to be, and that's because the Genji can get up to that high ground and really deny those angles here. So it is going to be Shadowburn trying to get in onto Grim Reality. The Shimada brothers are fighting, and Shadowburn is the one who comes out victorious.
It's just like the cinematic, where Hanzo just looks sad, old, and outmatched. But take a look here. Shadowburn right now using defensive Genji pretty well. It stymies Grim Reality. He's able to get to the backline. He's going to have a Dragon Blade most likely in the next fight. And for now, it's working out quite well here for FaZe. Now, I'm not expecting him to have quite as good of a first point defense, but you never know. And I'll note, by the way, Grim Reality, Hanzo definitely not especially, because he's already swapped off here the Reaper, something he's far more comfortable on. Nano Boost is in, and here he goes.
Yeah, but because this is his second life, and he's not going to have the ultimate up, so they do get some work done, but not as much as Shadowburn still getting done on his Genji, is able to get the Dragon Blade into the back lines. One of the things is, you can just ignore an on-a-boosted target and go to the back lines, go to the people really responsible, the people pulling the strings in the back lines, the supports. It's exactly what Shadowburn did, got back there, got himself a couple kills, completely negated that push, and a lot of it was because Grim Reality spent that first life on Hanzo. At 85% now, you have to imagine things would have been different had he had Death Blossom up for that push.
I think it would have been different. Now, there's no guarantee he would have had Death Blossom right away. He did build up a lot off the Nano Boost, but I think he would have been a case where he would have had the Death Blossom midway through. It's still hard to get a huge amount of Alta and Reaper on the very first push unless you just have a Roadhog giving it to you, but Grim is going to be looking for the Death Blossom here in just a moment. Almost has it fully charged up. Graviton, though, comes in for the defense first. Grim gonna find himself stuck in, gonna have to wait for him out, but while that's happening, his team is dying all around him. 4 kills as a result of that Graviton. Too easy to the hook to polish it off, and now, the minute 40 left, we were going into this thinking that maybe Immortals can do that first point hold, but FaZe coming out with their best Immortals impression right now. However, a storm is brewing, Hex. Whole lot of ultimates heading their way. 5 ultimates on the table. This should be a one fight for Immortals, but if they lose this next fight, they're very likely to lose the map.
Well, that was the plan for the last fight, you have to think, was just to junk rush and get everything ready for this fight. This is what they've been banking for. Minute left into it. Hype's going to have to start it off with a Graviton if he finds the opening. Right now, stymied, and they're spread out pretty far, but they have to fight right now.
They're looking to fight right now. Too easy going to pull in Hyped. Hyped, while he's looking at the Roadhog, isn't getting a good opportunity here for a good Graviton. Graviton comes out, but it's too little, too late. 2 kills have already gone down, and here comes Shadowburn. He's built up a Dragon Blade once more, takes down Ethan in the back, and this is nothing short of a complete disaster here for Immortals, and an amazing defense coming out here from FaZe, because again, they weren't looking good ult-wise. Every single ultimate has been burned and spent for nothing on the FaZe side.
They got
on the Immortal side.
It started with the sound barrier. They didn't get any kills during that sound barrier. A pretty decent disengage, but it wasn't even a hard disengage. I felt like the engagement wasn't aggressive enough. Then they boosted the Reaper, and that did not get anything. So there's another 2 ults down. The Graviton came in before that, already missed time, so that did not get anything done either. So they had every advantage in the world, got nothing out of it.
Hype, though, able to take down Shadowburn. Maybe this is the case where we're saying we don't need any ults. However, they're writing the fact of fiction. Had the Nano boost on him. Took down Agilities, swinging the hammer, making all sorts of space. It's 3 kills here from FaZe, make it 4. Overtime is in progress, and it is looking like the one with the first point hold will in fact be FaZe here on Watchpoint Gibraltar, so giving Immortals a taste of their own medicine, as it turns out.
Just dominant. I mean, I would have liked to see a little more confidence come out from Immortals, because Grim Reality switched from the Hanzo into Reaper after the first push. And for FaZe, it didn't work out for them the first push. Shadowburn wasn't able to get much done when they first attacked, but they were able to keep it through, and the Shadowburn was able to get 2-3 picks, and that kept them rolling. Maybe Immortals just got a little bit of cold feet and didn't feel like they were going to be able to get anything done. Now, of course, Shadowburn was playing defensive Genji, but so was Agilities, and that didn't stop Shadowburn from trying to make things happen. It really just came down to 2Easy was getting a lot more picks than Agilities was on offense with the Roadhog. At the same time, Forsaken was saving his bubble every single time for when someone got hooked. Not to gain charge, but really to save people, and I think that helped FaZe out a lot.
All right, we're going to be heading to Dorado next after Gibraltar. Should we tie it up, we will be going to Temple of Anubis, New Anubis. So it's not old Anubis last, but it's still a tough map for teams to take. And it's possible we draw on that, and we'll go to a King of the Hill. But that is far off in the distance. We're going to be heading to Dorado next. It seems to be a favorite of Immortals, as they snap-picked that.
I mean, this is the problem for Immortals, though. Like, they really needed Gibraltar if they wanted a better chance of winning this series. Because now, I mean, Dorado is a must-win, obviously, to take it to a third map.
Yes.
But now they have to play Anubis as the third map, and FaZe are definitely favored there if we go there.
You would think so.
All right, so... Sorry, go ahead, X.
No, I was just filling air. Come on.
And we're just in it already. No time being wasted here. It has been a longer day, and it does weigh on the teams a little bit as well, though. We do try and segment out with 2 different groups, so you don't have teams playing in one long stretch. It's really just the casters that end up
I mean, who thinks of the casters? We're only going on like hour 6, so... you know,
it's not even that bad.
No, it's really not. I was just whenever I feel a little bit tired in like hour 6 of a cast, I just think about like times when it was like hour 12 of a cast that I'd been up since like 4 in the morning. So it's all perspective and subjective, and it's fun. Like it's really interesting to see. I actually, it's not overselling it. I was really looking forward to this tournament in this group because like all of these teams are teams that I don't know necessarily where to put them in kind of where the scene is, because there's the very, very top level teams. And then there's this giant group that seems to be logjam behind it, and just the results we saw in Group A and now Group B are proving that everyone is really close right now, and no one has really stepped up to be the leader of the dog as far as like North American teams, or leader of the pack. Yeah.
If there is a little bit of
the leader of the dog, is that what we just said here?
Yeah.
Just to quote it for posterity, leader of the dog, Hexagrams 2016.
Hey, there's been a lot of quotes tonight from both of you, so I don't know. What I will say for Immortals, though, is that Shadowburn's Mei, although Mei is so good in the meta right now, is really not, I don't think, as good as other players, and is not as good as his other heroes in his pool. So I do think that is an opportunity for
it's one of those cases where it's like a tension pick, right? Where even though he has way better heroes that he plays skill-wise, Mei is more of the meta pick here, where you want the Mei. But you do wonder if right now it's the best pick here for FaZe. For them, they have a buffer; they can definitely go with it. But it's questionable, at least a little bit. But 2D put on otherwise too easy. I don't know.
It takes down the Roadhog. Totally. Next patch, Blizzard. Infinite hook range.
So, both teams right now trading out poke. Nothing too crazy here, but Shadowburn has already built up a Blizzard. Perhaps trying to prove us wrong here, saying, look, I have been leveling up my Mei game. Nothing too flashy here, but it's enough right now that's stymieing Immortals back. Immortals struggling to look for the right opportunity to push in. Looks like they're going to split off, go for the high ground, but again, I'm not sure if they got the weather report, but they will be hanging to a blizzard, and this is not the best area to get trapped in one either, so a lot of outs here for FaZe as they keep on this defense. There's a little bit of a switch up towards the end, and I think the blizzard's coming out right now, and there it is.
Well, I'll see if Grim can get anything done as he gets the boost into the backlines, as Reaper pretty much just has to vacate. Largely bloodless here, even through those ultimates, though. A nice positioning here so far for Immortals. That is a beautiful Earth Shatter, drops down all the tanks, but the Sound Barrier is going to come out to save them. Again, still bloodless. It's so back and forth. The counter Earth Shatter, this should start to crack some skulls.
And they're cracking skulls indeed. Fact or Fiction Forsaken moving right in, countering Immortals with power here. And again, this is just, I don't know, I just feel like this is a anything you can do, I can do better moment here, where Immortals, they look so good against Method with their full holds, and yet, suddenly, here we are, where FaZe now just stuffing Immortals here, stopping all their attempts to move in, like just the iron wall here, and the ice wall, I suppose, and it's rough. You do have ultimates building up here on the Immortal side, and they're gonna have to make this work. If they don't get it with Graviton Sound Barrier, this map might already be over, and here we go, Hype moving in, Graviton at the ready, pulls in 3, will be enough. They're looking for it, they don't convert on the kills, and Holog is still gonna create some space here for the defense.
Well, Nomi got one. They are going to counter Earth Shatter, though, so they're going to swing it back. There goes Grim Reality. A beautiful hook does bring in Athan, but he's going to get cleaned up eventually as Fact or Fiction goes in the back lines. He's going to try to take down these tanks, but Whole Hog is out of it. It's only the tanks up alive on the cart right now, but they don't necessarily have the damage to deal with it.
Hype able to take down Ruckus. Fact or Fiction gonna get hooked back, and Immortals looking like they've cracked the code, as they rightly should have. They were in a huge moment of advantage with how they went forward here, ult-wise, and they're able to convert. They will, in all likelihood, be getting this to the next checkpoint. It looks like we will have the last gasp moment here. Earth Shatter coming in, Graviton on the way, and FaZe not going quietly here on this point, but Nomi, the iron wall there, Ana keeping him up, not dying here just yet. Sound Barrier, though, does come out here for FaZe. They have 5 people in this fight, and they might be fighting it back yet, which would be all sorts of bad news bears here for Immortals, as they only have 45 seconds left, so things have swapped on them in a hurry.
They are definitely getting pushed back. Too easy. Did switch to the Tracer too, but it was a nice pick. He ended up taking down Agilities in the back line. Nomi and Hype lucky to get out with their lives there on the retreat. So we're down to the last push. Cart very far in advance, but they do have the combination that's been dominating the meta lately in the Death Blossom and Nano Boost. We'll see if they can actually get it working. We haven't seen all that many great ones tonight.
Here comes Grim Reality, Nano Boost on the way, Death Blossom moving into the back, picks off 2, forces made the ice block, ends up at the 3rd, and we haven't seen as much of it as just mentioned, but it is the Nano Boost Death Blossom breaking open this FaZe blockade, and will be giving new life here to the Immortals, but a lot of time has been drained off the clock.
New life, but a brief life at 2.5 minutes to get to the second point. So I believe this is where Immortals, or rather, where FaZe stopped denial in the last bit of the map that I was able to watch before this set. So very familiar with this part of the map here. They do also have high ground able to reinforce, but Fact or Fiction going down there does not seem like the big deal, but he has to rotate all the way around to these back stairs and giving up a brief high ground advantage at the very least.
Abilities right now moving up to the upside. Does have Whole Hog at the ready, and I love this little ledge here. It gives a little, just, I don't even know if it was intentional at the beginning map banking wise, but it makes for a nice flank. What a hook coming in here to Shadowburn, pulling him off. Ice Block, though, gonna save him from the worst of it, and an Ice Wall. 5v5 right now on the point, but the Graviton into Whole Hog, setting up Immortals pretty well here. Still a slugfest, but definitely one where Immortals is carrying more of the momentum.
Hype able to save himself there with a really nice Zarya bubble. He was behind 2 people who jumped out of the way. It was almost like an orchestrated thing. They jumped out of the way. Hype ended up taking the charge, but of course he's one of the few heroes who can live post-charge with that Zarya bubble at the end there, the shield of herself. So they are going to be pushing forward, pushing into a couple ultimates here. We'll see if Shadowburn can hit a nice Blizzard. That's what's going to start it off.
Blizzard coming in here from Shadowburn, looking for a little bit extra. Will be freezing out Agilities towards the back. And Roadhog, so durable in these situations. Meanwhile, Grim Reality got to the back line, took down Forsaken. It's momentum on the side of Immortals, and they're starting to figure out this FaZe defense. It started out slowly for them, but second point has gone way better. They have a minute left, and they're going to get even more time when they get to this next checkpoint, so they will get their option here to attack last.
Well, FaZe
attack last, man. It's been a long day. I'm just tripping over words right now.
But I mean, I'm not going to call you out on it because I'm not that kind of person.
I call myself that.
Basically a little bit sloppy, and this was something I was worried because as long as it's been for us, it is very late for a couple of their players as well, because we do have some time zone issues. But they're fighting all over the place. They're not necessarily coordinating or going in with attacks as a team. It seems like, well, let's go in as a team and then whatever, just do whatever you want, because they end up being all over the place, getting segmented off and finding themselves outnumbered in these duels, finding themselves in unfortunate 2v1s and 1v1s that are bad matchups.
All right, and we're taking a look at Nomi right now. Does have Earthshatter at the ready. Will it be a big play for him? He does have the potential to go off out of nowhere. Swinging hammer, looking for his opportunity. There was a moment there he could have had a 4+ Earthshatter, but no, the Earthshatter gonna come down for some Factor Fiction. Won't be enough. Shadowburn trying to capitalize on it. Coming in from the back. Nano Boost at the ready. Gonna have to Wraith form out, though. Not getting quite as much as he wants, as Grim Reality being the rock right now for Immortals. Kill after kill here on Reaper. Momentum still in favor of Immortals, as they are pushing everything back at the moment. 3 kills in their favor, and now with a minute left, they might cap this out in the end.
I feel at some point they needed more damage. There were so many times they hit a nice nade, or they had a lot, but they had no follow-up, no finish. I think a big part of that was Shadowburn on the Mei for a while. He was able to move around a bit, but you didn't really see him in the kill feed. He was getting blizzards and things like that, but you do need your Mei to chime in on damage with some icicles here or there. And as Lesher mentioned, I don't think it's his best hero, and maybe not the best Mei play. And I was talking about characters finding themselves out of position and getting 1v1. There were a lot of times that Shadowburn was just all alone on an island, and you can ice block and you can wall yourself out of some of those situations, but I don't think he had a very good game on Mei there, and a lot of it was just the damage was lacking. You wonder if maybe he was on that Reaper earlier, they'd be able to clean up some of the kills that they started, but so far they were unable to do it, and then they're giving so much healing over to the other side that it just ended up being in a snowball scenario.
I mean, for how good the defense, first point defense was from FaZe, the second and third points were quite mismanaged from them, especially the ults. So you had Shadowburn and Forsaken both using their ults not to the greatest effect, especially in the second phase, where Immortals has kind of rolled through. And FaZe, with the ult advantage for especially that second fight, should have been able to stall off the cart during that second phase, not really able to get things done.
That second fight you're talking about with Forsaken and Shadowburn too, on the Mei and the Zarya, you use 2 of the most powerful control ultimates in the game, and you get 0 kills out of them. They both grabbed only 1. The Blizzard only grabbed 1 near the cart, then the Graviton grabbed 1, but they had no follow-up or nothing to deal with it. A lot of times I think that Shadowburn was throwing down the Blizzard, then he would ice block instinctually when he didn't have to. He could have been putting out damage during that time, so not the best Mei play, but use 2 of the most powerful ultimates in the game, in Blizzard and Graviton, and you get 0 out of it. That kind of sets the tone for how poorly that second point defense went.
All right, so you take a look at defense here. It is now going to be Immortals on the defensive end. They're going to have to hold this for quite a while. FaZe does have the opportunity to put themselves up on time bank, but it's not the easiest time to be in Dorado. Last point can be tricky to get through. Either way, standard stuff coming out here from the defense. They do have the Ana, the Reinhardt, the Roadhog, Lucio, Kree, and Hyped on the Mei. So Hyped, again, he's had really good Mei play. A big reason as to why Immortals has had crazy first point holds throughout the day. We'll see if he can work his magic here once more. However, FaZe, I would say Hyped has to be one of the biggest priorities to deal with here as they start their attack.
Yeah, Shadowburn goes down really early to Grim Reality. That's rough, because I think Shadowburn back on his best hero gives them the opportunity to pull this back and do well in this. A nice charge in is going to keep the fight going when Factor Fiction gives his life for it as the team collapses around him. They're trying to get a little more poking, but they're down a couple heroes. They got to be careful. That hook does not end with a kill, so they're going to wait for Shadowburn to get back.
They're down a couple of heroes, but they are able to do a decent amount of poke game. They were able to take down Hyped early on, which means that they still have a few Mei-free moments at the moment. Too Easy really lucky that hook didn't pull him in a bad area, and Hyped going down to Too Easy once more. So Too Easy with Hyped's number, but while this is going on, the rest of Immortals picking up the slack even without the Mei. Whole Hog from Agility is doing a lot to clear space, and only 3 members of the side of FaZe left, but one of those members is Shadowburn, and he has Dragonblade, has 2, looking for 3, going to pick up that 3rd. As a result, FaZe keeping it in. Just Shadowburn things.
It's just unreal. I mean, you said only 2 left, and the moment that you said that, I was like, well, we'll see how many are alive after Shadowburn uses his ultimate, and the answer is not many. And then he solo pushes the cart to the end after the cleanup, because he was the only one alive, murdered the rest of the team, and now he's got to go in there. It's just amazing how good he is on this hero, and there's not enough superlatives for it.
Look, Shadowburn just takes the carry thing seriously. I don't know what else to say. Just like I said, just Shadowburn things. It's like, look, I just gotta do everything. Just imagine a webcomic here where, you know, Genji's entire team is dead, kills 3 people, then you see him like pushing the cart from behind, just like Brumlin's like, my team. But either way, pretty good moment here. Soundbear gonna be coming out here from the offense. They want to keep things going. Soundbear v Soundbear, and Shadowburn finds his way to the top once more.
They used everything there and got nothing out of it for this defense. When you're using Sound Barrier in Blizzard, you expect some returns, but it's Shadowburn drawing first blood again, taking down Grim. Here comes the counter ultimate too. It's going to take down a couple more. There goes the Earthshatter. Really nicely timed from FaZe there to not let anything get done to them. Won the ultimates from their opponents, and then they're patient, use their own ultimates to great effect. And now they've got another set of ultimates too with the combo onto Shadowburn, and we've seen how effective that was on Route 66. So ultimates so far on defense have been finding very, very little value from both teams.
Here comes Shadowburn, the combo's out, Dragon Blade, Nano Boost, looking for the pickoffs, finds Ethan, gets the second, the immediate dash kill coming right in. Oh my goodness. That's a home run by Nomi, just sent Shadowburn to the fences, going, gone, and as a result, Immortals might be able to hold this.
We do need a baseball bat reskin for Reinhardt now that I think about it.
Now we absolutely need a baseball bat reskin. It's just like, oh my goodness, I don't think Genji expected to be a baseball.
Well, you know, master of all trades, I suppose. He can even be a baseball. But that is a decent hold for them now, and ultimates are going to stabilize on both sides as they only have a couple for each. Shadowburn is going to be dancing around up top. He did get a couple kills early, but just not enough for the rest of his team to come in and clean it out. They are still going to look for Shadowburn to get this early poke in. Dodges a hook, which is nice, but Too Easy's going to come in, try to create some space with this whole hog.
He is making space for the whole hog. Grego sitting back here, going to be dropping the Sound Barrier. It's going to be Sound Barrier v Sound Barrier once more, so don't expect that to make the difference, but Raucus is swinging onto Nano Boost, and it's a case where if it goes on Shadowburn, he'll get ult quickly, but no, it is going to the one and only Factor Fiction, swing the hammer, getting deep into this back line, just knocking away Lucio, builds up the Earth Shatter, doesn't get as much fun as one as the Zarya's shield keeps her Reinhardt alive and able to swing his hammer, but not quite to the same result, as it's looking like FaZe will be taking this point, and now they have a chance to finish out the map and even get a better time bank to boot.
Yeah, had Nomi gotten a lot of work done, all credit would have been to Hype there, as there's the only reason he was even upright was getting that really well-timed Zarya shield. Right now, Hype does have his Graviton up, Grim's going to have his ultimate up as well. They're going to try to rotate to this high ground. You really want to hold this high ground as a defense and get set up here, mostly because you want Grim to just sit up here and be able to shoot without being pestered or bothered.
Alright, here comes Shadowburn once more. We've seen the blade come out many a time, but Grim Reality, having none of it, takes him out. And while that's going on, Agility's doing the same in the backline of FaZe. FaZe going to find themselves fully wiped out. Still though, 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. Plenty of time for them to turn this back around in their favor.
Yeah, Dorado last can be really difficult, though, especially when you are going in with these kind of full wiped situations. You're going to be pushing in to a setup defense up top, rather than having to kind of draw it out, forcing them onto the lower ground with you and just keeping this fight going. But Shadowburn's going to be the lone person pushing the cart, trying to draw them down as the rest of his team rotates around top. Got Graviton.
Graviton does come in. Deadeye, though, from Reality in the back. Multiple skulls coming up. Happy little skulls. Takes down Grego. Again, offense lucky that wasn't worse than that. Too Easy pulls off chance at the end, but probably too low, too late. And even though Shadowburn's still alive, he's had great moments here, but he is not a miracle worker, and that truly would have taken a miracle.
Yeah, it's been Grim who's been really good on just making sure that he's protecting his supports from a distance. He's not letting Shadowburn get in on him into flashbang range, but I think the comms are working really well, because you could almost hear it without even hearing it. Ethan said Genji on me, and Grim flipped immediately, landed a shot on him to protect his Ana in the back line. So the responsiveness, knowing that Shadowburn is the priority to deal with when he's back on those supports, has been really, really impressive from Grim.
All right, and Agility's coming right in off the nano boost and Zarya's shield. Total devastation in the room. It's going to be a 4K. Looking for Zarya. Nothing Zarya could do there. Falls to Agility's as well. 5 total kills coming out from that Reaper. And now, minute 20 left. FaZe will not be beating this time bank time. The most they can look forward to is winning this next fight, getting to the end, and then having a better mad dash in the cart. Otherwise, Hex, we are going to be going to a map number 3.
Well, I'm rooting for map number 3. Despite how long of a day it is, I would like to see some Anubis tonight between these two teams. And I think these two teams are really evenly matched, but they are waiting momentarily. Shadowburn needs 3%, and then we're going to see if he can carry his team to victory. A lot of ultimates on the side of the offense. They've been banking it through the last couple fights. So Rocket, Shadowburn, Factor Fix, and Grego.
All right, here comes Shadowburn in space. Arguably a little bit too far up, but does find Grim Reality, takes him out, gets the Ana, dash resets, coming in fast and furious. 2 kills here from the side of FaZe, and now a little bit of a turnaround coming in here from Chance Nomi. They do take out 2. Agility's with the cleanup, and despite the heroics from Shadowburn, it's just not enough. Only 23 seconds remaining as Agility's rolls right to the back line, takes down 2 more, and this is looking good for Immortals. Now with only 15 seconds left, maybe FaZe can cause an overtime, but you know what this means? It's Nomi time. This is the case where Reinhardt could sit here, wait for the Earth Shatter, wait to punish poor fools looking to just get on the cart without fear of what could happen and what could go wrong.
Are you gonna get to the cart? Nope. Earth Shattered, denied, later. All right, Immortals taking the second map in Dorado, and as I mentioned, this was a snap pick from them immediately. When I asked what map they wanted to play, just Dorado immediately. It seems like a map that they really enjoy, really like. Their defense on it has been stellar, and that's what won them this map, was their good defense on first until Shadowburn intervened with that, but then also their last point defense they seem to have down to a science. They know the positionings for your Reaper and your McCree, and they came to play. This fella came to play as well.
Nomi again just coming out with some serious plays, and he's in a case where it's not every game for him, but it's been more often than not where you will see Nomi come out and be like, oh, by the way, he can really play some good Reinhardt, and it's part of the reason why Immortals has been having the success that they've had. It's easy to sort of focus in on Grim Reality as one of the bright superstar players, and certainly he is, but there's a lot that works right now in this Immortals team, and clearly shown as they're able to take a map off of FaZe, and now going to Simple Anubis, it is anyone's game.
Yeah, Immortals just had better ult usage at the end of that game. They played the third point and the end of the second point a lot better than FaZe was able to. They're electing not to run the Mei, but the Ana Reaper combo is still really good. If anyone forgot in the last maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, that it hasn't been played in a little bit. And really, especially in the tight corridors at the end of the third point on top of the stairs near Mega, you know, you're going to kill the entire team several times over. So big plays from Agilities and Nomi and Hype to support Grim Reality. And we're going to a third map, but really I have to give the edge here to FaZe. This is a team that has been able to beat Rogue on this map, including on online and on LAN. And they've had a lot of success here. So I think Immortals is really going to have to pull out a great performance if they're going to want to take this map. It does help them that it is now 5:15 in the morning for 2 Easy. It's 6:15 in the morning for Shadowburn, and you do have to put fatigue into these games.
So normally I would agree with you, but I feel like anytime we say that argument for FaZe, FaZe ends up winning the tournament. So at this point, I'm not entirely convinced. We might be dealing with a super race of vampires or something in regards to FaZe, because they're clearly not affected too much by weird sleep zones and all the rest, which, I don't know, it's just a FaZe thing. What can I say?
At some point, you just adjust to it. They've been playing in these North American tournaments for 3 months now, so it might just be their sleep schedule at this point. It sounds awful to me, but I guess that, you know, they're maybe just used to it. And yeah, you're right. Every time we do start making excuses for FaZe, I feel like they hear it, and then they win tournaments.
All right, so we will have a switch up here. Immortals will be going on the attack first. Wait, they're already on attack.
Now, one thing I do have to say about FaZe, when Immortals is going to be on offense first, right?
Yeah, I already had Immortals on attack, so my overlay was already correct in advance.
So one thing I do have to say about FaZe, even though Shadowburn has elected to play Mei quite a bit throughout today and in the last few weeks, which I definitely think is a good idea considering how strong Mei is, they've had a tendency to not use Mei here in second point on 2 CP maps, and that is so frustrating considering that is by far her best ability in the game right now, is to stall out on second point 2 CP, where even if there's 7 minutes left to go in the game, it's very well possible that the offensive team will never cap, considering the defensive spawns and how long you can stall with D.Va and Mei together. So both teams need to run Mei second point defense. No ifs, ands, or buts. It has to happen.
All right, so once FaZe is ready, the final map of the day will commence. It will be Temple of Anubis, and I don't really know what to expect here just because this is a higher variability map. This is a map that I feel like if Immortals can channel their crazy defenses from earlier, it bodes well, but we also saw one of those crazy defenses come out from FaZe, so this is hard to say. I feel like you could play this map 10 times, and whatever team might be favored, it would still be along the lines of a 60-40 split between the two teams. I think it's just because you do get a little bit more of that variability on assault maps, even under the time bank system. It's just the nature of how it tends to roll out. So either way, I think we're in for a good one, and we'll see who reigns supreme. I do think, though, you talk about the advantage of Mei on defense. Shadowburn's Mei definitely wasn't bad. Hype's Mei overall, notwithstanding what happened on Dorado, where Too Easy had his number, but you take that aside, say that was an aberration. Hyped has definitely had the better of the two Meis, I'd say, over the course of the day, and that might bode a little bit more into the Immortals' favor.
Yeah, I don't even think it was really super close. Hyped won a couple maps, like just mostly based on his icicle sniping. Was able to take out snipers, you know, in turn just with his right click too. And I think Shadowburn just didn't have a great damage game on Mei, and that you kind of do need to get that damage in when you're running Mei on that. She is filling the role of DPS. You have a DPS player on there, so you can't just be using it to slow and build walls and things like that. You become more of a utility at that point, and I think that was one of the reasons they weren't getting the kills. His damage output on Mei simply wasn't strong enough, so that is definitely something to keep an eye on here. On the defense, though, it looks like Shadowburn will play a Reaper instead of a Mei. So as you mentioned, the mandatory Mei definitely not showing up on this first point. Probably on the second point, though. You have to run Mei on the second point, right?
You would think. Mei is definitely more standard on the second point. It's more optional on the first, but really teams have been more comfortable with Mei. She's absolutely ridiculous right now, so it's hard to say. I don't think it's wrong not to run a Mei here, but I think it is very right to run a Mei. Let's put it that way.
Sure. Well, Nomi does switch really late. He leaves spawn, then goes right back to go onto a Winston. So I think they want to do some sort of a dive with him and agilities if the opportunity presents itself. He does dive up over the top on the support.
Genji Winston dives, one of the solid combos in Overwatch for aggression. And take a look at agilities. He almost has Dragon Blade built up. Did a lot of damage early on. Forsaken takes down Nomi, but with the 5v6 and early Dragon Blade, this is still an opportunity here for Immortals. Agility is going to heal up before he pops Dragon Blade, but valuable time kind of being lost here.
Yeah, they've decided to already get out, so he's not going to be using Blade right now. They're just going to kind of regroup and push back in. Losing Nomi early on the Winston probably really hurt their ideas for a push there, so much so that Nomi's done with Winston. He's back on Reinhardt.
He's on Reinhardt, they push away in, but here comes Agility. He's going to bring out the Blade. Looking for the easier pickoffs. Soundbear, though, comes out here for the defense, and it's going to make no pickoff easy for him. Ends up just swinging his Blade at Roadhog. Junkenstein's Monster, though, not having too much of it. 3 kills here for the defense of Immortals, as Shadowburn going to get the cleanup he's looking for. And again, this is actually the danger zone, because when it comes to Anubis, if you lose the first 2 or 3 fights, then you're dealing with a big ult deficit, and it's actually really hard to get your way out of this, where I would say one fight that's coming up here is just going to get Beybladed away by Shadowburn Raucus. Most likely. After that, there's only going to be 2 big fights left here for Immortals, and it's going to be tricky for them. And here it goes, Shadowburn off the top rope. Nothing but devastation. Just takes out everyone. Say hello to your friendly Reaper copter. Throws in the taunt for good measure. So, like I was saying, that was one push just completely in the can. Now, there's 2, maybe 3. I'll say 3 pushes left here for Immortals. But it's still going to be rough. Now, everything matters for them, and they're not necessarily guaranteed off of what the ults they have now. Counter Graviton comes in here for the defense, and Shadowburn works his way to the back, just getting left click after left click in, and there's 2.
Yeah, Hyped is going to be taken out pretty late here too. Chance
So
has to
many
retreat.
souls.
Like 2 fights ago, I just want to bring it up. Grego has saved his team time and time again. As he's subbing in tonight for Zombs, but he's still rosterless, putting down some great game tape. He has saved life after life, and not a sound barrier out of place all night for Grego.
Grego, just remarkably solid. Was always solid in this time of C9. I think solid right now as he's trying out for FaZe. And we'll see how things work. But Shadowburn right now just ready to drop down from that same spot once more. Not going to get quite the same level of rolling, but definitely doing lots of damage to Roadhog. However, is caught out. Grim Reality takes him out. 2 kills here from Immortals. This is the best chance they will get. They need to capitalize on it, and they are. 4 kills to none right now in their favor. Only 2 remaining, and Anna, you're pretty good right now, but you are not that crazy good to win a fight that outnumbered. So Immortals are going to be taking this point, and they'll buy themselves another 4 minutes to go in and try and take out last.
Yeah, very solid first defense, though, you know, down to 50 seconds is decent enough. They are going to have the combination up yet again of Shadowburn's Death Blossom into Nano Boost. We need to find a clever name for that. Nano Blossom doesn't quite hit it for me. Chat, help us out. But this next fight is going to commence with pretty much even ultimates on both sides. Grego about to have Soundbarrier yet again, already skating across the sky, waiting for his right moment to deny ultimates, because Grim Reality is going to try to get in with a Blossom as well.
He's going to try and get in. Take a look at Grim Reality holding on to Death Blossom right now. Agilities has the whole hog at the ready. Going to use that to open up space. And Grim Reality, meanwhile, going in from the back, looking to take out Too Easy. Finds his man, takes him out, but this team is going down around him. Grim Reality going to have to make an even bigger play here if he wants this to work out. However, he is the last Reaper standing. It would not be wise to go for the Death Blossom here. He's going to have to accept his fate. Takes Factor Fiction's hammer. We'll go back to spawn.
Shadowburn did use his ultimate there. They had the glowing Reaper Rafflecopter, and it simply didn't get it done because of a really nice Whole Hog from Agility. It sent him through the skies, but they also nailed their Soundbarrier yet again from Grego, so everyone stayed alive during that fight. Even the Reaper found himself way in the backlines and slept darted, so really, again, the good support play. There is going to be a small advantage for this pushing team, though, as they've got the big combo of their own yet.
Here comes Grim Reality, Nano Boost on the way, rolling right to the back line once more. Gonna get hooked by Too Easy, and that's really just buying the rest of his team some degree of reprieve. Martyr Too Easy, trying to do his best, and maybe has done so. Enough people have died here from Immortals that even if they won this fight, the respawns would absolutely crush them. So, once more, gonna be FaZe holding on.
Yeah, that hook is not something that you would love to do, but he keeps him away from his team. He was in great position on the left side all by himself. His team was holding largely on the right, so Too Easy saw them come in, decided he would just eat all the damage from that Blossom just to buy his team time to reposition and get themselves in a good spot behind the shield, which they did. Afterwards, the cleanup came in, Sleep Dart, and a nice Fire Strike out of Factor Fiction. So yes, the martyrdom was real, but it absolutely bought his team the time they needed to react.
Alrighty, so you take a look here at the defense. Defense still in a really good spot. I mean, their ult bank is super charged up. Shadowburn takes down Grim Reality immediately. Start things out. Just spinning like a toply balanced spinning top man, as Twitch chat would say it. 3 kills going to Shadowburn here. And yeah, that's Forsaken with a little bit of a punch towards the end to finish it out. And just nothing of that engagement really working out well for Immortals. Just, again, though, they were up against such a big ult deficit. It would be hard for them to turn it the other way. It would have been a remarkable play if they did, but now with 2 minutes left, they are starting to run out of chances, and I kind of feel like they might want to junk rush this, try and build up Nano Boost, Death Blossom, then have 3 ults up. Unfortunately, I think they are going to go for a Graviton here, but Graviton comes in first here from the defense, takes down Ethan. They're already down a player. I think they just commit to the junk rush here, Hex.
They're just going to back out, though. They're already down 2. That was a super aggressive Graviton. I didn't necessarily love the positioning of it because you have to fight outside, and really your biggest advantage, the best hero on this map for defense is the map itself. This last point is brutal to push in, so you don't want to give up the defender's advantage that the architecture offers you. So the Graviton was oddly positioned. They did clean up a couple kills for it, though. They still have so many ults remaining, though. The ult economy from FaZe has been great this game, and as you mentioned, they still are in a disadvantage for the offense. I don't think they really have time to jump rush it anymore, though.
No, they don't have time. They need to make everything count. Graviton comes in, is answered by the sound barrier. Hyped, gonna take a snooze here in the back, and defense again with a good answer. Shadowburn holding on to Death Blossom, coming in from behind. Offense with their best push here yet, but Shadowburn still alive, still buying time. Wraithform on the point. Okay, he's not gonna go for the Death Blossom there. That would have been crazy, but definitely not to have worked out. He's got to wait to come back in on the respawn and then go for it, because guess what? Raucus has nano boost up. They're going to be kind of close in terms of delay, but this combo is happening, Hex, and I don't know if there's a proper response to it, because here comes Shadowburn on the way. Death Blossom at the ready, spinning right in, gets booped for good measure, going right in the Grim Reality. There is no brakes on the Shadowburn train, moving it forward.
I don't think he even has an S key. It's W all the way.
Not at all. And now 15 seconds left. It's not like Immortals can actually not go in here. They're going to have to take whatever poor souls remain, try and move in, and hope for the miracle.
The wall is going to slow them down, as we do see May came out just for the stall tactics, but they're going to stay on it now. Another Earthshatter comes down, is going to knock down Hype, who is on his Diva to try to get there. Earthshatter is all abound for both teams, but the first kill does come from Nomi, takes down Forsaken. That is a big part of their stall tactic. Here comes a Deadeye.
Does come in. Nomi right now still swinging the hammer a little bit more. Final nano boost coming out. The mighty swings of Nomi. Take out 3. Is this happening right now? The defense suddenly in trouble as Nomi picks up the quad. I've never seen such majestic mouse wanting Hex as the buzzer sounds. And at the very end, Immortals has capped this final point.
Forsaken is inches away from getting on that, as it does complete right there. All right, I did not think they were going to be able to pull that off, but Nomi, and you know, who says Reaper is the best Ana boost target? There was a time when Reinhardt got every single one of those Ana boosts, and he's showing exactly what he could do with it. Nomi has carried pretty hard these last couple games. He's had some great plays. I mean, that one
made it look so easy. He's just like, I'm just going to sit around this one, not even go around the full point. He didn't even turn into a Roomba where he just like went around circle and circle. No, he just like sat in a corner of the room like a busted Roomba, and people ran into him. So I don't even know, but in the end, Immortals, they do cap out that point. They keep hope they keep open the hope that they will finish out Temple Anubis on the winning end. But FaZe now with the golden opportunity, the ability to get forward, not only cap both points, but have extra time in their bank to go for the third cap as well. So we'll see how it works out.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they did get it down to 0, so FaZe should be feeling pretty good, but there is a little bit in me that feels like FaZe is going to be kind of pissed off now that they did so well through that entire half, and they still were able to let it go, that maybe Immortals can get in their head a little bit here, and if they're able to put up a strong defense on first point, that it could be a problem for FaZe. So FaZe need to calm down, chill out, realize that they got it down to 0, and just play normal.
I don't think Too Easy is the type of guy to be swayed by emotions. You know, not really the type.
Of course not.
Too Easy, definitely more of a swing player as far as his days,
Overwatch. He's good to have. Well, let's see if Shadowburn stays on this Widow. It'd be an interesting opening gambit for a Widow on offense here, but he is going to jump out on this Widow, probably going to try to take this high ground, and right now they don't necessarily have a great answer for it outside of Athan. But Widow's got the better gun.
Take a look at the FaZe opening right now. They do get through the left without eating too much poke in the process, which is important. It greatly increases the odds that this attack is actually going to be successful. They're moving in, and it is actually just a party room in here. Everyone's swinging, hoping for the best, but it's Hyped. Coming out on top, gets the early double kill, and this is going to snowball into a firm result here for Immortals. And remember, Immortals, they were having all these first point holds. It's not inconceivable that they could just hold first here and win the map right here on point A. So that's a threat that FaZe certainly has to be aware of. And what do they do when they face hard times? Oh yeah, let's just put Shadowburn in the Genji. So Shadowburn not wasting too much time in swapping the Genji, and we'll see if he's able to do just normal Shadowburn things.
Well, that first push was really odd because you have Shadowburn watching the platform and then they take a fight in a room completely out of sight lines. So he did absolutely nothing. Shadowburn getting crushed by Nomi there, so that is a really brutal start to this fight. Another hook comes in. Grego gonna be lucky to stay alive. He does stay alive even though he's disported, trying to keep his team alive too. It is everywhere right now.
Nomi just finding time to swing the hammer, takes out Raucus with the aid of Hyped, and the tank play for Immortals in the last part of the last round and now in the beginning of this round has been phenomenal. It's been a big reason for their success. And take a look at their ult bank right now. Hyped with the Graviton, Nomi with the Earth Shatter. Grim Reality ready to spin like a top with the aid of Ethan. A lot of power right now on the squad for Immortals, and with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, this could get tense. Here comes Grim Reality into the party room, moves in, takes down Shadowburn, just tearing through that sound barrier, still sets up his team for 2 kills. And this push almost over here for FaZe. They have to back out. They have 2 minutes left. They don't want to throw more resources into this as the final hook comes in, gonna stagger it even more.
Too Easy ended up using his ult in that, and they also use Sound Barrier. The thing about an Ana-boosted Reaper is that there is really no pure defense for it. The best defense for it is shift over to speed, turn around, and run away. But Sound Barrier gets chewed up by it. It's not enough healing to be able to really deny it. Transcendence helps out as well, but it's the best answer to Nano Boosted Reaper is generally run away or push him away somehow.
Well, and shout out to Nano Boosted Reaper in this respect here, Hex. To those who get the reference, it has no weakness. But here we go, Dragon Blade coming out here from the side of Shadowburn. We've seen this movie before, trying to break things open, but doesn't get as much as he wants. However, the distraction is enough to get 2 kills here from FaZe, and FaZe finally cracking this Immortals defense with 1:12 left to go. They will cap this point, and they'll leave themselves about a cool 5 minutes to go from point A to point B. And this is sort of classic FaZe here, where in a sense it's a crutch, but it's also the greatest strength in that you give the game the Shadowburn, he's gonna find ways to bring it through. And even if he doesn't get the kills, the other team has to respect him so much that it creates opportunities for everyone else on the FaZe squad. Yeah, well, his nemesis is going to take up the rival that did him so well on Dorado, and that's Grim Reality coming on to McCree, and he was causing absolute fits for Shadowburn, so he will be the #1 priority target with both flashbangs and headshots. Grim Reality is just trying to keep eyes on the Cyber Ninja. Shadowburn right now, waiting to go in. Takes a little bit of poke early on, so not going to be too overeager. Plus, Factor Fiction is down, so this is a case where 4 minutes and 21 seconds left here on the clock. They're going to take their time in going for this. They can build up ults, do a few junk rushes, and work this to their advantage, but take a look at the defense. Defense certainly building up their ult economy as well, and we'll see how much discipline they have when FaZe rolls in, and if they are able to save some ults, even in a big push.
There are a couple ults on this FaZe team that you can use and feel comfortable using without anything else. You can throw away a Pulse Bomb and not be too worried about it, and with how well Shadowburn plays Genji, you can throw away a Dragon Blade in the hope of getting some ults faded up from the other team, but they're going all in. Here comes a Sound Barrier, there goes Shadowburn.
Shadowburn goes in, takes down Ethan right away. It is 4 kills here from FaZe, and that is exactly what they needed there. Coming in from Shadowburn, setting up his team. Too Easy off the flank, and that's the scary part of FaZe. When Too Easy and Shadowburn actually link up and have big hero moments, it works out well. And now, FaZe, 3 minutes and 34 seconds remaining on the clock for them to take point A. They take point A, that's it. They win Temple. If they don't take point A, we're replaying the map, and we're here for even longer. So Immortals looking for that draw, looking for the replay.
I mean, Immortals died with Ana ult and with Ryan ult at the end, so as good as their first point defense was, I mean, you may as well use it. Like, anytime Shadowburn is going to hit you with sword, I would just freak out. Like, just do it. I mean, you got to conserve ults, and I understand that's really what the top of Overwatch is about, and you can't use all your ults because of one player, but if there was any player and hero to do it on, it's Shadowburn on Genji, because the likelihood of half your team or your whole team dying is usually pretty high.
And I'm just gonna note here, you take a look at the offense, FaZe is not messing around. This is clearly their final form. Shadowburn not even entertaining the idea or pretenses of, oh, let's go for this better meta, and it's like, no, Genji. Genji all the way. And now, I will say, in terms of counter picks, I do wonder if Immortals is actually going with the best strategy here, because this is a case where I do think Immortals could get away with running a defensive Winston. I think just adding that extra pressure on the Shadowburn, making his life even more difficult. You know that FaZe clutches on it. Why not make him deal with the Winston and at least go, Shadowburn, if you beat us, you're gonna have to beat us on the Reaper, not the Genji. Because we know you can beat us on the Genji.
Yeah, even a first point Mei here, because it is all in on this first point, you have to do it. And Mei is not great, perfect against Genji, but she's pretty decent to slow him down. And we always talk about identifying the problem, solving the problem. The problem's very clearly Shadowburn. How do you solve it?
There's a way, you can't fully counter Genji in a one-to-one, like Overwatch is more of a game of soft counters, but you can create barriers, create obstacles, and Winston, definitely one of those obstacles. Mei at points can be an obstacle. It's stuff that just makes his life harder. But for now, this is a good set for Shadowburn, and really couldn't ask for anything more as FaZe goes forward with their first assault. Now, Grim Reality going to take him out early on here, but it's not the worst here from FaZe. They built up a decent amount of ult going in. Obviously, they prefer to at least get a few kills to stagger, but take a look here at Shadowburn. 32% ult, you might think, well, he's not going to get ult in the next fight. He absolutely can get ult in the next fight off this.
Yeah, a tough charge there for Factor Fiction, unfortunately, as he tried to come through center, and there was a whole lot of people in front of him, and by the end of it, he was on the other side of the map and getting killed. That always feels really awful as a Reinhardt to not even be able to stop yourself halfway through on a pillar or something like that and at least contribute to the fight. Died for nearly nothing, so they're going to rotate, take a different angle of attack here.
All right, well, speaking of nano-boosted Genjis right now, Agilities gets his combo up quicker with Ithon, and that's just going to roll through FaZe like a knife through butter. Not knife through butter. I was about to say a knife through hot butter, and that just would not have made any sense whatsoever.
It's a hot knife
so,
through butter, yeah.
I mean, hot butter, that's basically melted, right? That's the stuff you,
Yeah. It would
like
work.
you dip crab in it or something. Like,
Technically, it would work. It's just not a saying.
all right, well, Shadowburn does have the Dragon Blade into Nano Boost once more. Moving forward, gonna waste his time a little bit on the Reaper, but too easy, coming in, picking up the slack, doing the work on Tracer, and Shadowburn still in there. Ends up picking up 3, looking for the 4th. Hype though, the beam will take down Shadowburn, but while this is happening, reinforcements are coming in, and FaZe looking like they have this here just a little bit more. And there it is, it will be FaZe taking the series, and what was a very hard-fought setup. Shoutouts to Immortals for giving us a close one, but FaZe in the end just a little bit above.
The unspoken about man, there might have been a Forsaken who gave a nice bubble towards the end of Shadowburn's reign after he went in onto the Zen, ended up catching him out and then saving him from some late damage to keep him alive. So everyone on this FaZe team playing really well, but it's always Shadowburn. His DPS is off the charts. This was just brutal.
This was the epitome of this patch. A Zarya shielded Reaper jumping in, while nano boosted, and Death Blossoming.
Yeah, that's Overwatch. Right there in a 5-second clip, that is the current state of professional Overwatch.
The thing is, though, in fairness, that is a case where that could have been avoided. I don't think anyone looked up on the Immortal squad there, because that's not the most common Reaper's place. Someone could have looked up at some point and said, okay, maybe not here. Unfortunately, no one looked to the sky, and it was not a bird or a plane. It was Reaper failing as a helicopter, just crushing everyone, so.
The two things I think I would note from this map, neither team ran Mei second point, and you know, maybe for FaZe it's because Shadowburn and Raucus were having such good synergy throughout the entire map that they were able to Beyblade like 4 or 5 times and have that many wipes, and then that allowed Forsaken to go Mei at the very end, and they got it to 0, so that's okay. But on Immortals' end, I mean, why not use it? I mean, you got wiped anyway. You know how good Mei is second point. Someone go Mei, please. Why even have to go through this? If you don't have the ult, someone switch to Mei, delay the point as long as you can. You have several seconds that allows the team to go back in because they got wiped, and that allowed no time for that to happen. And the second point I would make is that although on the second push that FaZe died 2 or 3 times, Too Easy got a very crucial kill on the Chance. The only kill that he got, and that made sure that Chance did not get Zen ult by the time that last push came in, and Shadowburn was able to get Sword and to get Ana ulted by then, and he was able to kill Chance on the respawn. If Chance stays alive and is able to save Zen ult, maybe that Immortal stays alive and they force a replay of the map.
Alrighty, well, that does bring us to the end of our broadcast here today. We will be back tomorrow for more of the monthly melee. We'll be finishing things out. Teams will be going through the playoff stage, and certainly should be some good games, as today proved to be rather unpredictable. Tomorrow might be even more so, but until then, we will see you guys tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern. Thanks for tuning in, guys.